That's not ideal. Now it is time to start building. I really need to figure out something better for lighting down here because the lighting is just not great. And I do have a little light thing, but unfortunately it's dead. Now I have watched a few videos on how to build a PVC cage just to give myself an idea of like what I needed to know. From what I can tell, the most important thing is pre-drilling all of your holes. So right now I'm just gonna mock everything up and we will start assembling. I haven't even begun the mock-up yet. I had to cut one of the pieces in half for the top and the bottom of the enclosure. That took me a little while. I don't exactly have the right tools or the right setup. I do have the top and the bottom, or the top and the bottom. Whichever one I decide to use, I'm not really sure. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 of the walls on, or I guess 3 of the walls, so each wall and then the back. Even if you don't have all the tools in the world, like, I mean, I have a decent little setup of tools, but I don't have everything, you can still make this work. I cut that in half with a Dremel. Ryobi little tabletop Dremel. Just kind of making do with what I got. Got one side on right now, which is this side right here. I've got a whole bunch of screws right there. I did pre-drill all of those screws, and then something I hadn't seen anyone do, but I didn't really think it could hurt. I put a little bit of this Gorilla Glue on every single screw and then screwed it in. I just figured it would help a little bit with rigidity. Basically, I just pre-drill all the holes, put a drop of this on, screw them in, and then let them sit. And then I have this little angle bracket here. All that's really doing right now is holding them in place. Now that all those pilot holes are drilled, I just take the screws, put a drop of that glue on, screw them right in. Just like that, we've got the 2 sides on. Now I just have to put the top or bottom, whichever way I decide to do it on, and the back. So I've got those 2 clamps on. Now the whole thing is being held together by the clamps and then the screws down on that side. So now I just have to do the same thing here that I did on the other side. Drill all the pilot screws, then go through, add a little bit of glue to each screw, which again, I really don't know if it matters, but it makes me feel better. Screw all of them in, then put the back on. And let's be honest, this is kind of the boring part. The fun part that everyone loves is building the inside of the cage, which will be coming in this video. I essentially got the box of the cage built. I'm not gonna put on the front yet, meaning like the top of the front and the bottom of the front. I think it'll just make it easier for me to foam, leaving that not on for now. There is the cage. Looks pretty good so far. It's not 100% straight, but when I put on the top and the bottom, that'll straighten it out. Now I just have to go through and put silicone on all of those edges so that it's watertight, because this cage will have a water feature. I already have the little water pump, so that's gonna be really, really cool. I want a waterfall that kind of runs down with almost like a little river in the middle. You guys will see once I start building it, but for now, just gotta add silicone. So it is the next day. I let the silicone dry all night, so, I mean, there's not really much to look at, but you can see all the edges are siliconed. This morning I actually went to a local reptile shop to pick up some cool pieces of wood for the inside. Obviously there needs to be perches and stuff because this is for an arboreal tree snake. Here's one of the pieces I got. This, what I'm thinking is, it's gonna go straight across like that. Now obviously I have to trim it, which I'm about to do. I'm gonna trim it to exactly 2 feet so it'll fit nice and perfectly across for some awesome perching. Then I got a few smaller pieces of the same style of wood. These will just kind of be for random perches, maybe corner perches, something like that. And last up, I got this mammoth piece. Not 100% sure what I'm gonna do with this one yet, but I'll figure it out. For now, I'm gonna get that first one that I showed you guys cut down to exactly 2 feet, and we will put it in and start foaming. Basically, for this piece, all I'm gonna do is try to cut kind of right here to make it flat so I can screw it into the side of the cage, and then cut a little bit of length off this one to make it exactly 2 feet. Let's do it. Safety first. Well, obviously my saw is not big enough to do that, so I have a reciprocating saw, and I think I'll just use that. Reciprocating saw worked way better, so you can see I have a nice flat ledge here, so I'll be able to screw this into one side of the enclosure. Now I just gotta cut the tip off.
Just the tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels.
Or measure it out to 24 inches, cut the tip
just the tip
off so it'll go nice and easily across. I got that done. Obviously it's not gonna go as low as I'm about to show you. I still gotta figure out the positioning and whatnot, but it'll look something like that going all the way across. Now I just have to figure out where I wanna put it, screw it in on one side, and figure out where the other pieces are gonna go. So this is probably gonna look a little weird to you guys right now because there's no background or anything in like that, but I promise you I have a vision for what it's gonna look like. I got 3 of the big pieces in. I actually cut that really big one in half to get 2 different sides, but I think it looks really good. So you can kind of see that was one piece, and then I cut this one in half. That corner right there is where I'm gonna have the waterfall come out of and go into a little pool that sits in the back left corner. But for now, it's coming along. Now I just have to go through and pretty much foam everything, then I'll get the last few pieces in. I might add some more little decor, some more sticks and stuff like that. But for now, I think it's still getting really good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know we're just getting started, still a ton more to do, but I want to hear your guys' opinions. It's been a few days since I recorded a update on the cage. I have made a little bit of progress, and I'm about to start working on it some more for maybe another hour tonight. It's already 9 o'clock, but I want to show you guys what I have done so far and what I'm about to do. This is everything that I have done so far. As you can see, I've gotten the backgrounds done on both of the sides. I have a few different sticks put in. These shelves are going to be used to hold flower pots for some live plants once it's actually done. So I have a few shelves in here. See that styrofoam right in the back? I have a piece of tubing that goes up from there and kind of drops off into that corner. So what I'm about to do is make a little divot in that styrofoam and kind of make it look rough. Cover that with grout, paint it, and then eventually I'm going to cover it with a 2-part epoxy. And that's going to be a waterfall that runs along the back of this cage that'll eventually go down through this bottom piece of wood right there and then drop into a little pond. Initially I was gonna do the whole thing as kind of like a false bottom pond, but I think I'm just gonna get a tote or something like that and make a pond that drops down off that piece of water, just so I don't have to worry about the false bottom with things like leaks and stuff like that. So right now I'm gonna get this waterfall set up, try to start grouting it. I'll show you guys how it looks when I'm done. Also probably gonna finish the back layer of spray foam and then cover those shelves with spray foam as well. I know it's kind of hard for you guys to tell, but I've roughed up all the edges of that styrofoam there in the back. So that's where the water is gonna go. The waterfall will start right here. Water will run down there, then down here. And then I'm gonna try to get it so it perfectly runs down this little gully in between this piece of wood. And then we'll drop from right there into a pond right here. But now I have this stuff, which is just simple grout. I'm gonna mix this with some water and paint all of that styrofoam to kind of seal it in. Then I'm gonna add some color to this stuff. I have green, brown, and one other color that I don't remember. I'll add some of that into the ground, paint that, and then we'll go over all of that with a 2-part epoxy, and hopefully that will waterproof everything so the water feature doesn't leak. New outfit means another day. I did stop last night, but I did make a decent amount of progress last night and then today. I have the waterfall essentially done. All of the grout is on, the color is on. It looks okay right now, but I think once I get the 2-part epoxy on, it'll really kind of clean it up and dull out a lot of colors and make it look better. I'm about to start going through and putting the silicone backing on all of the foam and then adding in the texture, which is I have Josh's Frogs ABG mix that I'm going to use to do the background, but I'll show you guys what I have so far. That's the waterfall right there. So again, water will come in the right side of the screen, go down, drop down that little cascade, and then come down there. Again, I think once I get that 2-part epoxy on, it'll look significantly better. Got some flower pots on. So all those different flower pots will all have live plants in them. I got a little PVC pipe right there for something small, but I'm gonna go ahead and start sticking silicone on all of the edges and putting that ABG on. That'll really finally give it a textured look and actually start making the cage look like it's coming together. Now, I love making these kind of videos, but obviously they take me days, if not weeks to make, so if you could drop a like and a comment, let me know what you think, I would really appreciate it. So I have done a decent amount of work on this cage since the last update I gave you guys. I got the whole background done, and to do that again, you guys have seen me do it before. I just cover everything in brown silicone, then throw dirt at it, and it usually works pretty good to make a naturalistic looking background. So I want to show you guys the background. I also got the epoxy resin put on the waterfall feature. Right now I think we're ready to test. I do have a bin of water that I just threw in there. I have to get the pump on the silicone tubing that goes up to the waterfall. I don't have an outlet right here where I'm going to be testing the cage, so I'll just run a little extension cord, but I want to show you guys what I have done so far. I haven't put lights or anything in there yet, so right now I'm just using this to show you guys, but you can see all those branches. The background looks great, and then once there's plants and stuff in here, it'll really liven it up. There's a bunch of clay pots that I have in here. There's one right there, and there's a little PVC tube right there to put a small plant in, another one up there, and one more down there. So you can see the waterfall looks kind of shiny, and that's from the epoxy resin on it, but I have this bin in here. So right now I'm gonna hook up the pump, and then we'll see if my waterfall works. I'm gonna let it run for a couple hours, see if we have any leaks or anything like that. So wish me luck, I'm gonna get it all set up now. Here is the moment of truth. I've got my extension cable and the power for the pump. The pump is sitting inside of this black bin. Hopefully, when I plug this in, we see water start falling, and hopefully it falls where I was envisioning it to fall. I might have to adjust the flow rate on the pump, but here we go. Hear water sucking, but I don't see water coming out. Why don't I see water coming out, right? Oh, that's not ideal.
No! God, please, no! No!
So I think the outlet where I have the water coming out might be clogged with epoxy, so I'm gonna try to snip the end off of that. I think it might just be clogged, and that's why it's not working. Give me one second. Well, I cut the end of the tube off. It wasn't clogged, and I can blow air all the way through that tube. So what I'm thinking is maybe the pump that I have isn't strong enough. Granted, like, it's only going up like 1.5 feet, so it's a little bit weird that it's not working. I'm gonna do some more investigating real quick, and I'll bring you guys back in a second. Pretty sure the issue is the pump is just not strong enough, because I can blow air all the way through, but the pump is not pumping water up to the top of the waterfall. So I'm gonna go get a new pump, and we'll try again in a little bit. Back again. I had to order a new pump on Amazon because I went to Petco and they unfortunately did not have a submersible pump that would work. So this is the size of the old pump we were using. This is the size of the new pump. You can see pretty big difference in size. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one plugged in, put in the little temporary tank that I have in there, and then we are going to see if this waterfall finally works. I also ordered plants today from Josh's Frogs, so we've got a lot more work to do on this cage. Still got to paint the whole outside, build the door for it, but we're coming along pretty good. Now, let's get this waterfall running. My cat is also trying to help us at the moment. That's Simba. He's a pretty good boy. He's like 4 or 5 months old. He's a good kitty, huh, Simba? Oh, budge. Well, I almost got real mad for a second. This had a different tip on it that it came with, and it wasn't gonna fit with the tubing, so I thought I bought the wrong one. But just had to swap out, put that tip on. We are now hooked up to the lining, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the pump in. Just saw it fill up with water. Moment of truth again. I'm gonna plug it in, and hopefully you guys will see some water coming out right there. Might have to adjust the flow rate, but this will give us an idea of if it's gonna work. Oh yeah. Look at that. Just about as perfect as I could ask for. The water is doing exactly what I thought it would do, which is perfect. I know it's probably very difficult to see, but you can kind of see the water coming out of the tube right there. Runs down, 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 down the end of the tree, and right into the bucket. So I'm actually about to post on my community tab and ask you guys if you want me to break this video up into a 2-part video and end this one here, or if you want me to leave it all in one part. So this is going to be completely up to you guys, and you will know by now what is going on with it. Like I said, I have those plants coming. Those will be here in a few days, probably. I think it said Wednesday. Today is Sunday. I've been building this cage for about a month now, so it's been quite the process. But you guys are going to get to pick what happens. So I will either see you in a few days to add plants, or I will see you in a little bit longer when the next video goes live.